Hey everybody. Hello everyone and welcome back to another YouTube live stream. I missed you, so I hope you missed us. Our guest today is one of New York City's most prominent background casting directors. He spent the past 17 years working at a number of casting companies such as Grant Wilfley, Central Casting, and Comer Casting. In 2016, he launched Waldron Casting with his business partners and has helped cast a lot of New York's biggest shows. Please give a warm welcome to David Waldron. Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We got everybody here checking us out live. I think we should just get into it.
Down for that. Let's do it.
So, like I said, you're one of New York's most prominent background casting directors. Can you walk us through what the process is for an extras casting director? Like, what does your typical day look like?
Our process pretty much starts the moment we get that script. We'll have a concept meeting, and we'll kind of talk about the tone of the show, the look of it. And from there, we skip ahead, and a couple of days later, we'll have an extras meeting where we'll sit down with the director, the ADs, the costume department, and really go through scene by scene the type of background they're looking for, the scenes that we're doing. And it's there that we have an opportunity to kind of get the vision of the director for that episode or that film. But our day-to-day pretty much changes every day, just depending upon the project, depending upon the needs of that day. I mean, some days you get into the office and you just jump right in, start booking your background. Other days you jump right in and you're pulling photos, clearing people for possible featured background work, submitting that to the director, then doing that again, and then finally getting his selects. And then sometimes if you're lucky, you'll get to book them.
So just nonstop.
Nonstop, 24/7. Literally working. We all have our phones attached to our hip. There's no sleep.
Yeah. Do you sleep? Do you get to sleep sometimes?
You know, we've been doing a lot of sleeping now. I get caught up in the past 17 years. But no, I don't think any of us really sleep when we're filming.
Oh man, how do you keep everything organized when you're working 24 hours a day and doing, so much to, kind of keep track of all these projects you're doing?
Post-it notes, lots and lots of post-it notes. I mean, there's a lot of note taking, a lot of different spreadsheets that we'll kind of type in, because a lot of times you'll have a meeting and they'll talk about a look, and then you get back from the office, or you get back to the office from that said meeting, and literally a new script comes out, and you look and like, all right, well, that meeting was pointless because that scene's gone, this one's added. So it's a lot of just note taking. A lot of times I have a notebook that I'll fill out. Half the time I'll be grabbing for Post-its that are literally all over my desk.
Oh wow,
And that's really how I am. No organization.
oh man, so you're like Carrie in Homeland, just like putting everything up on the wall and just
Exactly.
connecting all the dots.
We have a bunch of windows, but if we had walls, I'm pretty sure it would just be a collage of everyone's notes.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
I know that this is a very tricky question, but how do you see background casting changing? That's the question that everybody wants to know, is that, for a long time, background casting was this way, and then this happens and things change. So is there anything that you can see changing once production starts to ramp back up?
That's literally the conversation that my business partners and I have every day. And I
Yeah.
mean, like right now, it's just hypotheses and assumptions, but I'm going to assume that, there's not going to be any large crowd scenes anytime in our future until there's a vaccine. I'm going to think that numbers are probably going to be cut. They're going to want to try and keep set, limit it to the necessity of the department heads, the cast, and limited background, sadly. But, I don't know. We're reading as articles come out. So, we're trying to stay up to date as possible, and we're, listening to what our productions are telling us. But I think it's just a day-to-day kind of learning experience for all of us. I think it'll be interesting when we get back. I can definitely see gone are the days of large numbers of background and maybe even rush calls, especially if we're going to be doing testing and temperature taking once we're on those sets. I don't think we're going to be able to rush call people out there anymore, or add numbers. I think it's going to be very minimalistic in the beginning.
Yeah, and I think that that's to be expected. I don't think that should surprise too many people.
No. I mean, I know people are freaked out there like, oh my God, special effects, our jobs are gone. And I mean, if their jobs are gone, let's face it, my job's gone too. So I don't think that that's where we're at. I mean, special effects is great for, increasing the numbers for those large, stadium scenes or crowd scenes. But I don't think they perfected, special effects for like a couple of people in the background. I think if they did that, it'd be a little obvious that that's not a real person.
Sure. Yeah, I think so too. So why is it important to you, going on to a different topic, as a casting director, that background actors have their information updated? So their photos, their sizes, their contact info, their vehicles, all that stuff. Why is that so important?
I mean, it makes our job as casting directors that much easier, because a lot of times, we're looking for specific looks, we're looking for specific sizes. As dumb as this sounds, sometimes we're looking for a specific car or a color car. And if we search our database, or we find you, or you submit, we're assuming and having faith in you as an actor that the information that you're putting forward to us is correct. Because nothing is more annoying than when you book someone, you send them to set, and the photo that they submitted is nothing like what they look like in person. And believe me, we're the first person that's going to be called, and we're going to be bitched out. I don't want to get that call, especially if the call time is 5 a.m. and they get to set. I'm going to get called at 5:30 in the morning, and sometimes I've just gone to bed, or I've been up until 3, replacing people, checking people in. Like, I don't want to get that call from the producer or the AD saying, what the hell, this is not who I picked, or this was not the look we told you in your meeting. So,
Yeah.
and especially when you deal with, uniform sizes, like if we have to fit generals, or we have to fit, a waiter's uniform, as up to date as you can be with your sizes, it's going to make our job easier, because, we might get 3 uniforms and we have to fit them to a T, and, wardrobe sometimes does not have the opportunity or the time span to sit there and alter them when you get there, and either let it out or like take it in,
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that, that's important when you talk about like being able to know what you really look like. The question is like, should I have professional headshots, or do you need those selfie photos?
Yeah. I mean, we prefer selfies. I always tell people, don't, unless you want to, get a legit agent and manager, and you're looking to get on Broadway, you're looking to, get more to speaking, more background work, don't waste the money, because you might send us a headshot and we're going to call you and say, this is great, but I need you to take a selfie of you right now, what you look like. Because, we're casting a look,
Yeah.
we're not casting a body, we're casting a look. So selfies, your best friend.
Makes sense. So how quick is your turnaround from learning what type of background actors to cast to actually booking actors?
I mean, again, I think that really depends on the project. Some projects, we're getting the information so late, like we might not find out until 5 o'clock at night what exactly we can book. So, we might be booking, sometimes 10 hours before the actual call time. Some projects we're lucky enough where we can book, first thing in the morning, because, that project is kind of a little bit more streamlined and knows what they want, rather than a project that is, getting new pages and constantly changing the scenes. So I think, again, it depends. I mean, we might be able to book someone in the morning, right when we get in, or we might have to wait literally until they wrap at night, say 9 o'clock at night for the next morning.
Yeah. So how important is it that background actors have a full day of availability when booking a project with you?
I mean, that's a major thing. Like our biggest pet peeve is basically booking someone. They get the call time and they're like, oh, I'm not available until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't know I was going to have to be available all day. It's like, well, it's a job, just like anything else. Like, this is a legit job. We need you to show up, do your job, and represent us to the best of your ability. So I always say all day availability. And look, if we get a heads up that it's going to be a 4 a.m. call time, of course, I'm going to give you the heads up because, I live in Jersey City. So the PATH train, I'm lucky enough that it runs frequently. But the further you get out into New York, Connecticut or New Jersey, sometimes your transportation it doesn't start that early. So we'll give you the heads up. Or if it's like a night shoot and your call time is going to go until like 6 a.m. the next day, of course, we're going to let you know. But in general, you should have all availability, like no conflicts, no doctor's appointments. No, I got to pick these kids up at 4 o'clock, but I can come back afterwards,
Yeah.
All day.
So a lot of people are asking, like, how do I get started, or, how do I work in background New York? So what information or legal documents do I need in order to be an extra in New York? We can maybe start there.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you need to prove that you are able to work in the United States because you're going to fill out, all your typical payroll forms, your I-9, your W-4, because we got to pay you. You're not working for free, so you need to be able to get paid. So I would say easy enough if you have a U.S. passport, amazing, or, a green card, amazing. Or if not, you can do a driver's license with a social or a driver's license with a birth certificate. It's just your standard documents that you would need for any job, whether you're doing a clerical job or, working at McDonald's. You need the same documentation.
Great. I'm just going to throw this one in here because we got this question asked, and I'm curious because you've worked on so many projects for so many years. What's the most memorable experience that you've had working in extras casting?
Oh my God. I worked on The Normal Heart for HBO, and it was my third time working with Ryan Murphy. I had worked with him on Glee when they came here and shot the finale of season 2, and then I had done the New York portion of Eat, Pray, Love. So I was no stranger to Ryan Murphy and his wants and needs. But I'll never forget, they had this one scene where they wanted someone that truly looked like he was dying of AIDS. They wanted them thin and just sickly looking. And they were, of course, going to do makeup, but they wanted a base. And I just remember searching and submitting photos, and he was not happy. And we literally were coming back from a meeting, and there was this gentleman that was on the corner and got it 23rd and 6th, right by that Best Buy on 23rd and 6th. And he was homeless with a sign that says, "I'm dying of AIDS and I'm homeless." And it was that moment where you're just like, oh God, do I do this? And I said, "Excuse me, sir, can I take your photo?" And I took his photo and I submitted it. And they said, "Yes, that's who we want." And so HBO went and paid for a cell phone. We ended up finding out where his sister lived. He stayed with his sister. And he is very prominently featured in my heart. But that will go down in history as one of my most memorable and unforgettable moments.
Yeah.
On extras casting. Yeah.
No, that's crazy. So much with background casting, you have to kind of look outside the box, and you have to just kind of, hit up this, dance studio, or hit up this, whatever it is, and just go out on the street. And
people don't believe it, but we do that all. We did Tales of the City, the reboot for Netflix, and one of my business partners and fellow casting directors, Tony, was just reaching out to gay clubs, reaching out to friends that knew drag queens. We were just throwing that net out so far and wide and hoping that someone would be that key into that community to kind of just get the word out there. So, it really is who that'll help you cast, honestly.
Yeah, it's can't even imagine. So what do you think are the most common misconceptions about your work as an extras casting director, the process, or just kind of your work in general?
I think sometimes people get a little put off when they hear, "Oh, it's just background work," or "Oh, you just cast background." And really, it's an integral part of the scenes. Without background, your scene's going to look a little stupid. I mean, let's face it, I don't think that scene when Harry met Sally in the restaurant would have played very well if you didn't have those reactions of the patrons there.
Yeah.
So I think people really take for granted that, these are actual actors. Like, there is a skill to background. There is a skill to, kind of just fading into the background, but still emoting, still acting. And I think it's a really good skill, especially if you really want to further your career in acting. Use background work as an opportunity to learn the craft, to network, to really see how the different departments operate together as a whole. And then as far as us as casting, I think word is now spreading what we do and how difficult it is. I mean, I remember back in the day when I started at Grants, like, we were flipping through old headshots, and you didn't really know if these people still looked like this headshot. God, I mean, half the time these people, the headshots were like 20 years old, and you just did not know who was showing up.
Right.
So I think now, as productions and producers and directors really start to define what they want in a scene, they realize what we as extras, casting directors have to do and the hurdles we go through to find these people.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be that stigma on, like, a background actor, like, they're not important, but they are. You know what I mean? Like I said, if it wasn't for them, these scenes would not flow. You'd be taken out of that moment so quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pivotal.
It is.
So what is a stand-in, and how does someone become one? I know that might seem basic for some people, but there's a lot of people that don't know.
Yeah, a stand-in is used to kind of take care of blocking and light the scene. They'll come in after rehearsal. They'll watch the actor that they're standing in for. And they're kind of used to that while the actor then goes back to their trailer or hair and makeup, goes back to wardrobe and gets ready for the scene. They're kind of there for checking the lighting and making sure that everything flows and kind of that the blocking is going. A lot of times they'll have to be paying attention because blocking might change from what the actor rehearsed to what is now basically going up to be filmed. So they really just need to be on point and ready to take direction, because a lot of times they'll be directed as well in the scene. And as far as becoming a stand-in, I mean, as long as you can pay attention and you can listen and take direction, anyone can be a stand-in. You just have to really take that seriously. I know a lot of people don't like it because sometimes you might do double duty. You might also stand in and then end up doing background in the scene as well, which I respect that. But stand-ins are an integral part of the crew. They are considered crew. They're kind of part of that team.
And how important is it to show the types of looks I can portray in my casting network's photos? So example, I have photos of me in nurse scrubs or business suit. Is that important? Should I do that?
Yeah, I mean, extremely important, because your look can change with the matter of wardrobe. It can change if you decide to shave. It can change if you decide to buzz cut your hair or dye it pink. So I think the amount of looks that you have, especially if you nurses scrubs, you have an NYPD uniform, you have an EMT uniform. A lot of times people will come in and they'll be wearing a suit, which is great. We can see you as business, we can see you as a juror, we can see you as FBI, but take off the suit and maybe put a little bit more casual club attire, or maybe a little bit more loungewear kind of look, or patient attire. There's so many other roles that you can portray, and really people don't realize how much their wardrobe or their attire plays into that look. So I think the more looks you've got, put it up there. Let us see.
Yeah, that's great. I want to talk a little bit about etiquette.
That's a good
one. Which I think is important. So I want to start with wardrobe. So how is wardrobe important, and do I need to bring my own clothes if I'm hired?
Yeah, you should definitely be prepared to bring your own clothes. And like I said, your clothes will play an integral part in it. A lot of times, if we're casting, let's say Bull, and we're casting a courtroom scene or a juror, you can imagine that their looks are more business, and they're more business suits and business separates. So if you don't have a suit, maybe don't submit to that look, because when we're doing a scene like that, our costume department does not, again, have the time to fully dress you. Now, there are some instances where we're casting something a little bit more featured, and in those instances, you might go to a fitting, or you might be dressed head to toe. So the costume department might say, "Can I see your photo? And can I get their sizes? We're going to go shopping for them." That's a rare case. The majority of the days, we're looking for people that have that attire. And a lot of times when we post it on casting networks or we post it on our social media, we'll put the types of looks that we're looking for, whether it's suits, whether it's casual, whether we need people with an NYPD uniform. We'll post all that. But yeah, people. I mean, sometimes people don't realize that they're not going to get dressed. But yeah, you should be prepared to bring your own attire. Take stock of what you got in that closet.
That's great. If I'm a background actor, can I take a photo while we are on set and they aren't filming and post it on my social media?
Yeah, no, let's not do that. I mean, it's kind of sad. We've now had to start putting it in our posts. We've now had to start putting it when we email out call times, just because a lot of times you may not realize, but it might be like a story centric plot that they don't want getting out. And if you take a picture of a certain set or a certain actor, you could be giving away that plot information. And at the same time, that's the property of that studio. So no, we always say no cameras on set, and no photos taken. Please try to avoid going up to the actors and saying, hi, can I take a photo with you? Because again, they're there to do a job. They're being professional, just like the background actor is. You're there to do a job. Now, sometimes it might come up, the actor comes over to you. Well, we're not going to stop that. If they're coming over to you or they have a second, that's totally fine. Again, but please don't post that photo, especially if you're on a set.
And we shouldn't be going up to a cast member or director and asking for a photograph.
Yeah, no, let's avoid that too. Like I said, they're there to do a job, just like all of us, where our job is essential. The quicker we can get done with our job, the quicker we all get to go home and have a life, which we all want to do that. We can finally go back to work. But yeah, we should avoid that.
So how do I get FaceTime? I want to be recognizable. I want to get upgraded with a line or work closer to the speaking actors. Is there anything I can do to do that?
No, people ask us that all the time. And even when we cast someone that's, featured, that was selected by the director, or a dead body that could be right there, we never know. It's all up to the editor. It's all up to how they shoot the scene. I mean, you might have been booked on a day where there's 650 background actors, and you might just have the luck of the draw that director says, we love his look, we're going to put him right here, and you're right next to the actor in that scene. I think it's all luck of the draw.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're professional, you start to get a reputation that they can listen, they take direction well, we want to be around them on set. I think eventually your time will come, if that's the one.
Yeah. I have a very pointed question for you. Why do you give extras information so late and so last minute all the time?
Oh my God, I know. It's because we do it because we want to be mean. No. It's because we're giving it when we get it. Like, look, as soon as we get information, we give it to you guys, but a lot of times we're not getting that information until they wrap. And everyone's like, well, if I got my wardrobe notes earlier, it's like, that's great. We can give you the wardrobe that we have, but the wardrobe could change. The wardrobe could be drastically different, especially if at lunch the director decides, oh no, I've decided that I don't want them all in business suits. They should be casual. So now, would you rather have like 10 different emails from us constantly updating you, or would it just be a little bit more streamlined and nice if it's just one email once we get the official information? I mean, we're at that nonstop. People get so mad. It's like, we're not holding it from you. I'm not sitting here giggling at my desk and like, ha, they're like waiting for it. And but I'm not going to give it to them.
No, the same question comes up with commercial, and it's just, they just got it that day. And so now you're seeing it that day.
Exactly. And it's not like we're not asking for it. We're constantly saying like, hey, do you guys have wardrobe notes yet? Or, what is the estimated call time? What do you think? Just so I can give them a heads up, We're trying to help you guys, but at the same time, we're giving you what we got.
So a lot of time in background, you might be looking for a specific skill. So if I don't have any experience with that skill, but I think I can do it, I'm pretty sure I can do it, should I submit?
No, let's not. Let's not do that. I mean, I remember working on an episode of SU back in the day, and I had to find these two people that could play tennis. And they were both like, yeah, I can do it. And I booked them on the day, and they couldn't hit the ball. They could not even volley the ball back and forth once. And I got a call saying, what did you book for us? And I'm like, well, they said they could do it. So it's like, if you say you can do it, we're going to take it and have faith that you can do it. So like, please don't, you can pretend you want to say it, maybe, better yourself with that skill if you want to do it one day. But like, yeah, if you can't, don't.
Yeah, that would be me with tennis. If I was out there, I'd be looking like an idiot out there.
Exactly. I would look like a cameraman with it. I should avoid tennis. I should not play it.
So same thing regarding like other roles. So maybe I don't fit the description exactly, but maybe you'll change your mind once you see my submission. Is that does that ever happen?
That does happen, and a lot of times when we're submitting photos to the production team, they'll have an idea of what they want. Sometimes it's a broad kind of vision of what they want for that look. So I'll kind of open it up a little bit. Like I'll obviously submit actors that look what the director wants, and sometimes I might just fill it in with a couple of people. I'm like, you know what, they don't have the exact look, but I think they would look good for this, and I'll put them in there. So sometimes, I mean, there's a little give and take with that. I don't mind that. I mean, if it's drastically not, obviously if I'm looking for a Caucasian female that's blonde and you're a Caucasian male with brown hair, I don't think you should really submit to that role. But, there's a little bit of lenient, give and take and leniency with it, but not a drastic amount.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. So this is a personal question for me. So, often you'll see, different scenes, like maybe you'll see a scene where extras are dancing, like it's at the club. But is music actually playing in that scene, or are actors just grooving in silence, or how does that work?
They'll play music because obviously you don't want to see me start to groove to like nothing. Because let's face it, too, like if it's a club scene and you've got no music to play, how do you know how to dance? So a lot of times they'll have like setting music where they'll come in and they'll play music that's kind of similar to the vibe or the feel of the music that they're eventually going to get approved for. And then once the scenes they start filming, they'll turn that off. So they'll play it right before they call action, and then they'll turn that off.
And then,
And then the beauty of TV film, they'll lay down that track that was approved, and they have the rights to play.
interesting. Yeah, that's what I assume, but
I mean, you got to give them something to dance to. I mean, if you just say dance, you're going to get a lot of just interesting movement. You're going to get the Elaine from Seinfeld. No, give them something, or
yeah.
you're going to get with that. And you still might too.
So let's say I've been doing background work pretty consistently for the past year or two. How can I take that experience and use it to further my acting career? And please ignore my phone.
Oh,
I know, I'm unprofessional.
I always say people that are looking to further their career and to get into more speaking roles, use it as a learning opportunity. Like I said earlier, go in there, be professional, do your job as a background actor, but kind of take note of what else is going around. Take note of the director and his kind of work with the actors. Take note of what the ADs are doing. Really get a feel for what that world is, because eventually, when you do get speaking roles, you're going to have to feel comfortable in that room. You're going to have to feel comfortable with the director and taking direction. So use that time to really learn the craft. And then it's all about, branding yourself, getting it out there. Go to auditions, go to, open cattle calls. If you're really serious about it, look into, do some research on agents and managers if you're really looking to do that. But, use your time in holding wisely. Sit down, do research on these people. Get to know some crew members, how to, when you're not filming, but get to know them, network. It's prime real estate right there, especially if that's what you want to do. And sometimes I find it interesting when actors, they go on these sets and they might think that they want to get more into speaking and principal work, and then they find out, oh, I actually was watching the costume designer, I was watching the grip, and I actually, I kind of want to get into that. Well, now they've got kind of an in, maybe they made friends with that crew member to kind of get them in that door.
Yeah, and it's still onset experience, which I think
Exactly.
is super useful to, and probably, and I've heard actors say this, eye-opening to actually be on set and see what's happening. I think that can really help you
Yeah.
as an actor later on.
So many people have this conception of what acting is going to be. It's like, oh, it's so glamorous. But I mean, when you get to set, it's not that glamorous. Yeah, you make it a hair and makeup trailer. That's awesome. and you may have crafty. Sometimes it's not that great, but it's not a glamorous world. I mean, you're working 14, 16-hour days, and so are the actors, so are the principal actors. So you get the opportunity to really view that and really see if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. So now we're going to go into our emailed in questions.
Oh.
So I got quite a few, but I'll just grab a couple here for you, David. So first one is from Nathan. I know you have the answer to this and you're just withholding. When will we start seeing scenes with over 500 background talent in a single take and single shot in Manhattan and all 5 boroughs of New York City again? Thank you.
Oh, I've been sitting on this answer for so long. I just didn't know when I could eventually say it. No, we have no idea. We're just as in the dark as everyone else is. And, the information is trickling down. I hope we're back filming in August and September, but I think it really just is a matter of what Governor Cuomo allows and what the studios are coming down with their kind of protocols and the procedures and how they're going to deal with the social distancing and the testing. I think there's a lot of variables that have to come into play that is still kind of being worked out. So yeah, I mean, again, that's literally a coffee discussion that my business partners and I have every day. Like, when are we going to be filming again? Because there's only so much binge watching I can do before I go nuts.
Yeah. Rosemary said, "Hey David, do you think stand-ins will still be used on set? I would assume yes, but any thoughts on this?"
I mean, in my personal opinion, yes. I think that stand-ins will definitely still be needed. I mean, you need them for production value. You need them to light. They're a crew member. They're an essential crew member. So I don't think with this going on, because you can't special effects a stand-in sadly, and I don't think crew members want to be doing double duty. Like, I don't think the camera or DP wants to set it and then go stand in front of the camera and then run back and see if it lit well, So I think stand-ins will still have a job. I think that it's just a matter of social distancing and the procedures that kind of happen on set with how it all works out.
And Dan asked, do extras ever get promoted to speaking roles?
Yeah, we've had a lot of times where background is upgraded. It's like the luck of the draw. It just might be something where you're placed next to an actor, or you're placed in a situation in the scene where the director might be like, you know what, it just doesn't make sense that they're just sitting here nodding. In real life, they would say something. So I want, this person to say something. It happens very frequently. I mean, it doesn't happen every day, but in my career, it's happened a lot on the projects that I've worked on.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Norma asked, can working as an extra hurt one's acting career?
No, not at all. And I think a lot of people always freaked out, like, my manager says I can't do that. And again, like, I can't speak for your manager. If that's what they're telling you, then that's what they're telling you. But it's not gonna hurt your career. I mean, how many times have you watched an actor, a series regular, or a day player come in and play one role, and then the next season they're playing a totally different role? How many actors have we seen in all the different Law and Order franchises and brands that have played different characters, and in that world it's supposed to be continuity, that they flow together.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it's going to hurt you. And there have been so many actors that have started off doing background work that are now
Oh, I think I lost you for a second, David. I'm sure you will come back.
Oh,
there you are. I got you back.
There. Look, I'm here. I was like, wait, where'd he go? I'm frozen.
Gotta love it. So you were saying that there are so many actors who started in background.
I mean, you can look it up, but there's so many actors that have started off as extras and working in the background world that are now no longer doing that. They're taking speaking roles. So I don't think you need to be scared about it. I think that's just kind of like a stigma that's been put on background.
Yeah. And a personal one for you.
Oh.
How have you and the team fared through this crisis?
I think we've fared okay. We're lucky that we're all healthy and safe. we've been, I think, like everyone else, binge watching, walking, maybe drinking a lot, taking a lot,
Yeah.
eating a lot.
Yep.
Um,
Me
and,
too.
we've been doing some different things on our social media, like game giveaways, partnering with small businesses, and doing nice fun games and trivia, and giving away, gift cards and such to these small businesses, just because we want to be out there and want to support it. We're a small business ourselves, and we know that supporting other small businesses, it's just the right thing to do. We would hope that other people would support us. We want to support the community.
And you're currently doing a fundraiser on your website. You want to talk
Yeah,
about that for a sec?
yeah, we are coming up. We came up with these tie-dyed totes. So a nice tote, you can bring your stuff to set. You can go shopping with them, but they're a tie-dye tote that we are selling, and 100% of the proceeds is going to be going to the LGBTQ Freedom Fund. And if you go to our website, or if you go to our social media, you can see all about that. You can see how amazing this cause is, and what they do. So we're all about there. Again, we just want to help the community. Again, it's, we all want to live in a better place where there's inclusion and
Right.
grace.
Oh, that's great. Now we can get into the live Q&A. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know you had one story, but I guess this is all putting you on the spot. But
Yeah,
I'm curious if you have another example. Do you have another story when background was bumped up to a speaking part, and how did that happen?
Oh God. Yeah, you're really putting me on the spot.
I'm sure you remember every experience over the last
Yeah,
17
and you have
years.
to remember too, my brain's been on quarantine for the past couple of months here, so it's, I'm like trying to unlock it and, like, get the dust bunnies off of it.
Yeah.
I don't remember like specific times, but I've had a lot of times where on SVU back in the day where we would, cast a dead body that was literally just a dead body. So you might only see them in photos and sadly like bloodied up in a ditch in Central Park and then dead on a morgue. But I remember there was one time, and I can't remember the actual season or episode, but I just remember, again, a script revision came out and they ended up seeing this actor had sent a video to one of the classmates and they spoke. And at that point, we had already, done the photo shoot where we took live, live photos and like photos of them in the morgue. So it only made sense at that point that we would bring that actor in and upgrade them and had them say that one line, since we'd already done all that work for the actual dead body portion of it. But there's been really a lot of opportunities, but I'm so bad at remembering them. That's really putting me on the spot.
Yeah, I know. I would imagine that would be a hard one. But to your point before, is that it does happen.
Oh, it
And
happens. I mean, my one business partner, Stephanie, and Tony also, who work on Bull, I mean, I know in the 4 seasons that we filmed so far, there have been many upgrades on that set. Just because you're a juror, or maybe you're the DA's assistant that's sitting at the table with one of the actors, it does happen. You just never know when it's going to happen. I think it's better when you go in there not expecting it, because then it's just that more amazing when it happens.
I think that this is more of a rhetorical question from Kelly, but I'm just going to throw it on there. Do people really book a day with doctor's appointments the same day?
Yeah. You know how many times, like, when I'm retired and I no longer have to worry about people being like, oh my God, like, I would like to write a coffee book about all the amazing excuses that people have given us to cancel. I mean, one person, this is my all-time favorite. It will go down in history. I booked this guy, and I'm pretty sure that it was on the normal heart. And I booked them. They called me back after the call time went out. I was literally getting ready to go home and, like, I don't know, take a bath, relax, eat dinner. And he called and said, I'm sorry, I forgot tomorrow's my birthday. I need to cancel. Or like people were like, oh yeah, I have a doctor's appointment. It's okay. I'll be right back. What? Like, would you, like, no.
Yeah.
excuses that we've heard. I mean, I keep a list. I
Yeah.
keep a list. They're kind of amazing. And you just have to laugh at this point. I mean, I've been doing it so long, and other casting directors have been doing it so long that we get these excuses. And if it's a new one, I'm like, gotta give it to you. You thought of something original. Okay.
Yeah, that's something I haven't heard before. Yeah, it's a job, and you
Get a
should
chuckle, and you get a okay. I'm not mad because that's original,
originality. It's key.
right?
Skylar asked, is it the first people who submit or the first right people, or sometimes both? I think they're talking about in terms of who gets
Oh,
booked.
like, I mean, it is hard because we get thousands of submissions a day. And it's really about, we're casting a look. We're not casting bodies. We're really specific in the looks that we're going after. And we really want to be respectful of what the production's asking for. So I think it's a little bit of both. Like, obviously, if every one of those 1,000 people that submit to that post is right, then it might be the luck draw, because if we book the day already by 3 p.m. and you just saw this post and submitted at 5 p.m., then you're probably not going to get booked because we've already filled the day. But it's really just a matter of the look, and do you fit it, and are you right for the role?
Yeah, it's not just the very first person who submitted.
Yeah, it's not the first 100 people. Lucky you,
you won the lottery.
You won the lottery.
I'm just gonna agree with the blonde critic here for a second. I think background actors should get more respect than they do. So people were talking about how, it is a skill, and there are people who are skilled at it, and they book regularly because of that. So,
I mean, people just need to be. I mean, I hope that crews are starting to be respectful of it, because again, it is. They're a skill that's needed. I don't foresee how you can continue doing film and TV without them, because it's going to look really stupid if there's a conversation happening in an empty restaurant, and all of a sudden you CGI these like people that all look the same. It's like that CGI person that got what are they represented by CAA? The first
yeah.
I'm like,
I saw that there was a modeling agency that that was repping a CGI model as well.
Exactly. I don't foresee us hiring them, in the near future. I mean, years from now, but I don't see that anytime soon in the near future. So yeah, I agree. They should get more respect. It's a job in itself. It's a skill level, and people that take it seriously, they do. They get booked more often than not.
So I got a lot of questions about this, and I'm not going to just pick one, but we can talk about it a lot, because a lot of the questions, again, are you hearing anything? Is SAG saying something? Is there a date that things are going to resume or anything like that? So just want to talk again about, because I understand that's the question on everyone's mind. Like, will production come back? Do we have any idea, or is it all just we all in the same boat?
Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat. You know what I mean? We really don't know. We're hearing things maybe August, maybe September, but I think it's just really a matter of the different productions coming up with their protocols, coming up with how they're going to test crew, actors, how they are going to make sure that the sets are safe and still productive, but still maintaining that, social distance level. We might start to see shows come back quicker than others, just because maybe they figured it out. Maybe certain studios have figured out a protocol and a way of doing it. I mean, I just saw that the CBS soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful, quickly went back to filming, and then now they're already shut down again because they have to come up with better ways to deal with it. So I think we're all just kind of trying to do it right the first time and to make it seamless, so that we're not jumping right back in to jump right back out.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen a few examples of that, actually, where production got shut down, and it's the thing is it's trial and error, and there's different things, and it's
and there's different departments that have to come together, because every department's going to be different in how they social distance and how they deal with it. I mean, wardrobe alone, they have to figure out how they're going to be fitting these actors. How are they going to be dealing with the close proximity of dressing them, altering their attire? So, yeah, I think it's just all the departments, the studios, they need to streamline how they're going to do this. So sadly, I don't think it's going to be in the next 2 weeks, but maybe August, September, if I had to guess. But again, that's just me personally guessing.
Do you think that, and Leonard asked this, so I'll kind of maybe ask this in a different way.
Yeah.
It said, how are the new COVID regulations going to affect your business? And I know that you don't know, but I'm curious if in your project, like, do you think that that's something that you will be responsible to mention ahead of time in terms of protocol, or is that something that will be discussed more on set?
I really don't know. And again, it's something that my business partners and I have all been really discussing on how that's going to affect us and how that's going to affect us booking background and talent. And I think it's just a waiting game to really figure out, because it's all depending upon what the studio and that said production wants to do, and obviously we're going to follow the protocol of what the studios tell us to do. But I think until we know anything, it's kind of just all up in the air, and it's an assumption that I don't know right now.
It's all just guesswork.
It's a guessing game. It really is.
And I am so sorry if I butcher your name, but I think it's Nicheka. I'm sure I said that wrong. If casted as background, then get an opportunity sometime later to be a guest star or co-star afterwards, how does that work? And is the actor now not able to do, she wrote ND in the future of the show?
No, I don't think so. Again, like I said, so many actors. I mean, we have actors that come on like season 1 of a show and play one actor, and then come back in season 5 of that same show and play a different actor. Obviously, if you come in and you get an opportunity and you're cast as a guest star, with a speaking role, obviously we're not going to cast you as background that next day within that same episode, because that's continuity isn't going to look right. But that doesn't kind of stop you from doing background on that show again. Not at all. We just wouldn't put you in that episode that you were speaking in.
Maggie wants to know, how much background is too much? How many years?
What do you mean?
Just basically,
how many years of background for her or for me?
No. I think for her. I think saying, is there a limit to how long they should do background?
Again, that's up to you as an actor. I have people that I still see doing background work from when I was working at Grant Wilfley Casting so many years ago as an assistant. They're still doing it. I mean, if you are comfortable, there are a lot of people that can make good wages and can make a nice salary doing this. If they brand themselves properly and they get a professional reputation, you can certainly make this into a career. But again, I think it's, do you want to use this as a jumping point to get into speaking roles, or do you want to use this as a jumping point to maybe get more behind the camera? I think that's something that you as an actor need to sit down and figure out, and maybe it'll take, 1 or 2 years of doing background work to really figure out, is this what I want to do? But that's the question for Maggie.
Stylist Kathy Young has a question that I really like. What are the 5 biggest complaints from production about background?
Oh, the 5 biggest. Okay, late. And look, I get it. We're at the mercy of public transportation. So I always say 10, 15 minutes late, I get it. But when you're an hour and a half late, like there's an issue. So lateness. Second is them not looking like their photo. That's why we're always harping. We need a selfie. We need a selfie. And it's not because anything more than we need to know who we're sending the set. Again, we're casting a look, and it's all about what you look like. So if you look different than that photo you sent us, we don't want to get that call. So it's all about look, lateness, coming with dirty attire. Sometimes people will just grab stuff that's like got stains on it, or it's not properly laundered. And look, we're not asking you to go get an Armani suit or, a Gucci dress. You can go to thrift stores and find some amazing looks for less, but just maintain them properly. Make sure to launder them. Make sure to hang them up. Don't just, wrinkle them up and throw them in your bag and expect wardrobe not to be bad.
Sure.
And then obviously, one that I love is the special ability skill. if you say you have this skill and you say that you can do this skill, you should show up to set knowing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
I would say like the top. What is that? Only 4? I feel like it's Sesame Street. 1, 2,
5.
5. Like Count Dracula or Count. What is it?
The Count. Yeah.
One more. Those would be my top 4 that I would be here on a daily basis. Or people saying that are kind of not professional on set. They're constantly talking. They're not where they need to be when the agents tell them to be at a certain place or at their mark, or they're constantly leaving set. I think that would probably be the 5th one.
Yeah.
Just professionalism.
Yeah, it's important to follow those rules. I mean, like there's varying degrees of etiquette that I've heard. Like there's people like, okay, they were talking on set or maybe not following the rules. There's been instances, I'm sure you've experienced 17 years, where people are like fighting with someone that's in crew or like causing a scene.
We've had people fighting and holding about tables and chairs, and I'm like, I mean, legit, if you ask my business partner Stephanie about stuff, she's got crazy stories too. I mean, like if you talk to any extras casting director, they will tell you crazy stories, and you're like, that didn't happen. Like, really? Because I've got the call to prove it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know because I worked as a PA for a long time in New York, and I think just being professional and on time and doing your job, people want to hire you back again, and they're like, that person did a good job. And, acting, there's that extra layer of, okay, you fit the role and you fit the description, but also if you show up on time, you don't cause problems, you're professional, just like anything else, people want to hire you again and again and book you again.
Exactly. I mean, as large as a set can be, they are small. It's the people that work together constantly. A director might go to once and be like, oh, so-and-so, I love working with him. He's so smart, he takes direction well, or we love this one. Like, I've had directors give me descriptions of people because they don't know their name. And I've tried to hunt down to find them. Just, again, you create a reputation, you kind of make your brand you. People will remember you. Like you said, people will want to work with you time and time again.
Yeah, and it's especially in New York, it's quite the let's just say ecosystem. Like the actors all seem to know each other. They all talk and they connect to each other. And that's one question that we get a lot on these live streams is like, okay, I want to get started in acting, but I want to move to New York, and how do I find my group, or how do I connect with people and collaborate and maybe make my own stuff? And that's background is a great way to meet other people, connect with other people, maybe not the director of the film or the A-list actor sitting, but otherwise it's a good way to connect with people and build that community.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times too, some of these people that do background, they do have other jobs. So maybe they're a PA, maybe they're a costume, maybe they're camera crew. So they might be just doing that to supplement their income as well, or waiting for their next gig. So like, I can do background work. We have a lot of people like that. I mean, early on in quarantine, we kind of had background send us their work, and it's kind of amazing because you forget that these are actors. These are people with skills other than just background work, and you see their work, and it's kind of amazing. So again, it's all about networking and meeting people that are going to kind of maybe take you on a different path than you thought. So yeah, I mean, holding is a magical world.
Yeah.
Interesting people in holding, and some may be amazing and some may not be, but you just never know.
Let me see if I have any other questions. I think we have time for one more. If we don't have another one, that's okay. A lot of questions about when will stuff come back. Can you just pick a date? Can you just say a date?
I feel like what was the date in Back to the Future? Wasn't there like a date in Back to the Future? I'm gonna go with that day.
I think we might have passed that date. I don't know.
Passed it? Oh, damn. We just like the year.
Yeah, we might have gone past that date, but I'm not sure.
If I have to guess, I would have to guess that I would hope that we'd be back by the end of August, beginning of September filming. That would be my estimate. And again, I have nothing to base that on other than a guesstimate.
Yeah, don't hold David to that date. David said that everything's coming back.
Don't yell at me because guess what? I'm going to be in my apartment, quarantined also, probably crying that we're not doing it. So please don't email me nasty like your date was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are out of time, but it was awesome. I loved seeing the communication on the live chat. Obviously, love speaking with you, David. I'll mention again that you have the totes on your website. That's a great cause that we support as well. So definitely check that out. And any last words for everyone before we sign off?
God, be well, be safe, and let's get back to work soon. But
Yeah.
don't hold me to that date.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks, David. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you
See you
so
later.
much.
All right. Bye.
Take care. Bye.